Across North America, countless stories have been told. Stories of a towering creature said to roam the deepest part of the wilderness, known by many names, but most famously as Bigfoot. From campfire whispers to plaster casts, from eyewitness encounters to museum displays, the legend of Sasquatch has become more than myth. It's become history, culture, and a symbol of our enduring fascination with the unknown. Join us as we travel to museums and collections across the country to discover how each one preserves and presents the story of this elusive creature. This is Bigfoot on Display.
I'm Cliff Barackman. I'm the owner and the curator, and I kind of run things here, at the North American Bigfoot Center. North American Bigfoot Center is more than a museum. I mean, the museum is kind of the central hub to our activities here because it's one of the three components that we address. Number one is we are trying to educate the public about Sasquatches, about they're perfectly normal animals, and this is what they do. They're actually here, that kind of stuff, The second thing we do is that we are trying to locate and protect and curate historical archives before they're discarded. Because when you think about it, all of the original first generation Bigfooters are all dead. Second generation are slowly dying off. What happens to the research collection when they die? Most of the time it gets thrown away or dispersed or that sort of thing. So we're trying to get ahead of that because we believe that, since Sasquatches are real animals, we believe that this pre-discovery history that we're living through right now is going to be of great historical interest once the animals are discovered to be real. So, and then of course the third thing that we do here at the NABC is field work. We're trying to learn as much as we can about Sasquatches by doing boots on the ground, amateur field biology, essentially. I think we opened in 2019. Yeah, we did kind of a soft opening with just the gift store in August of that year. And I think we got the very beginnings of the display halls open in October of that same year. Well, I've been Bigfooting for a long time, essentially. I started in 1994, and since that time I started kind of collecting things. And at some point you just have a lot. I mean, for a while I was actively trying not to collect things because it was just becoming too much. I refused things, and I refused a lot of really cool artifacts that I wish I had now. But the casts were easy because I already had such a huge cast collection. The tchotchkes, they just kind of come to you if you're into Bigfoot in a way. And I've always had a keen interest in the history of the subject. So like when the Barbara Wasson came my way, that was before the museum. I recognized its historical importance and I acquired it. When people come into the North American Bigfoot Center off the street, like maybe they see one of our highway signs or something, I think the vast majority of them, or at least a good percentage of them, expect something like, the world's biggest ball of wax or something like that, one of these roadside attractions. So when they go through the exhibit hall and they read about the work and the evidence and the science behind it and what we have on display, they see these artifacts, they kind of come out going, this is not what I expected at all. So I love the question, what can people expect here? I guess what I have learned to expect from them is that they didn't see what they expected. They think it's going to be some schlocky, kitschy sort of thing, and I love that stuff too, don't get me wrong, but that's not us. We are a natural history museum devoted to the subject of Sasquatch. Well, when you go into any Bigfoot museum or crypto museum or something, what you're really going to see is a reflection of, I think, the owner in a lot of ways. You're going to see what they're interested in. And like, I'm not a guy who's super interested in sighting reports. They play a role, they're an important component, but I'm not super interested in other people's experiences. I'm interested in my own experience in a lot of ways, and I'm interested in the evidence, and I'm interested in what has driven me to this place. And that's the history and the physical artifacts, like the evidence you can share with other people. So in my museum here at the NABC, you see a lot of explanation about the artifacts. So instead of seeing a cast, and it might say, Blue Mountains 1982 or something like that, June 10th. But you're going to see, well, what happened on June 10th, 1982, and why is this cast so important in the context of all these other casts? That's the difference. Instead of an artifact and a label, you're going to see an artifact, a label, and a contextual layout of why that piece of evidence is important. Because that's what's important to me. The context, the history, and the story behind the artifact. Not the experience necessarily, My Bigfooting life certainly has changed since I opened the NABC, because my entire life is Bigfoot. It kind of has been for a long time, though, to be fair, but now in a new way. On Finding Bigfoot, the TV show, I was traveling around investigating locations and witnesses and all that sort of stuff, and it was great. But I like this better, frankly. I like the NABC a lot better than what I was doing on TV, partially because, it's what I find most interesting. It's not what the producers find most interesting. I always found television to be kind of shallow and superficial in a lot of ways. TV is like that. Look at any show, and I think those two words apply pretty well. But the NABC is kind of like my answer to that. I understand the constraints of television. I really do. I worked in it for 9 years. So I've got I've wrapped my head around that one. The museum, the NABC, is my answer to what I see as the problems in TV. Instead of just touching briefly on it like a stone skipping across the top of the water, I get to do a deep dive into that pool, here at the NABC. I get to tell the stories, I get the context, why it's important, the history of the subject, and how this piece of data or evidence relates to another one. That's the larger scheme. That's the more complete picture that we're trying to paint here. It would be hard for me to guess how many people on average come in, but I know that, this is the fourth day I was here this week, and I heard a story like yesterday, day before, and I was only here for an hour and a half, 2 hours. I bet you there's probably a story or two a day. Maybe they may not be all sighting reports, and of course this is also the height of summer. Right now, it changes a lot during the winter, but right now, when we get 100 people through the museum in a day, I think we probably average 60 to 80 on the slow end and maybe 120 on the high end this time of year. That changes a lot during the winter, though, but this is the busiest time of year. I bet you we hear half a dozen stories or more a week. And again, not all sightings. Some of those are sound reports. Some of those are, I found this in the ground. It looked like a footprint, or my uncle saw one, like secondhand reports. I think half a dozen is a conservative number for what we get every single week. Because I was on the television show, and because I travel giving, Bigfoot lectures and that sort of thing, I have a fan base, for lack of a better term, that's much wider than the local area here in Clackamas County, Oregon. And so when I opened the museum, I realized there were people in Tennessee and New York and wherever, Florida, who probably will never get an opportunity to visit the North American Bigfoot Center. So we developed a membership, essentially, to give them a little taste of it. And the membership is basically a Patreon sort of thing, like a $6 a month sort of deal. And they get, updates on new displays, they get invitations to special events, and even if they don't live here, they can zoom into that event, like do a digital live feed or whatever. And also you get videos. You get videos every single month from us. The videos basically feature our field research, and also kind of deep dives into evidence when there's nothing happening in the field. But that's actually pretty rare nowadays. There's usually something happening in the field. And a lot of times we'll film our field work even if nothing happens, because I think that's important to show as well. For people who want to visit the North American Bigfoot Center, we're really easy to find, and just go to the website, essentially, NorthAmericanBigfootCenter.com. The best way to visit the North American Bigfoot Center is check out the website, plan a visit around it. There's lots of places to stay if you have to fly in, go to PDX or something, or just drive by, man. We're between the city of Portland and Mount Hood. If you're going to Mount Hood, you're gonna drive right by us. You might as well stop by for an hour.
I made it to Melody Camp in the Mount Hood National Forest area of Oregon. I'm going to see if there's anything here tonight. This is my third time back here. So I'm going to be out here for tonight and see if I get anything. Hopefully something comes around. I thought I had something last time I was here, and that was on October. So I'm hoping for something good tonight. It's really quiet right now, so I'm gonna get some stuff for get a fire going, and then sit down and listen and see if I get anything. So yeah, it's good to be back here. It's not as cold. So last time it was really cold, so it should be a good night. I just sat down after gathering some stuff for a fire, and now I'm kind of just hanging around. There's a plane going over right now, but it's pretty quiet. It's actually deafening. It's so quiet out here. Really overcast, so it's probably going to be really dark tonight. We'll see what we get. We'll see what we get if something comes into camp, or if I hear something while I'm sitting around the fire. That's the best case scenario. I'd like to hear that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, kind of just hanging around and seeing what happens. I'm going to try a couple knocks here, see if I can get anything to respond while I sit and listen at camp. So here goes nothing. Let's wait and see. Getting ready to do a couple of knocks again. It's pretty close to being completely dark. There's some light. So it's not completely dark just yet, so figured I'd do a couple of knocks and see if we get anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fire out. So I'm going to sit in the car with the window down and see if I can hear anything. Hopefully something makes a knock, comes in. Maybe feels confident with the fire out. I don't know. We'll see. My phone's recording audio right now, so if I get anything, I'll capture it on that. I'm sitting in the car right now, on the front seat. The fire is mostly out. Just a little coals there. I'm gonna sit here for a little bit, see what happens. Let the fire die out more. We'll see what happens.